When you talk about teams that had underrated off seasons, the Golden State Warriors have to be at the top of that list. This is a team that nobody is really talking about, but they got so much better around Stephen Curry, sending off Jordan Poole, and in exchange getting Chris Paul. Not only did they get better, short-term game, long-term loss, you might say, but that really opens up their cap space down the line. They lose Dante DiVincenzo, but they bring in guys like Dario Saric, who is really going to help them at that stretch four, a spot that they really needed. Corey Joseph, same thing there. Another backup guard that can really shoot it. Podziemski, I think he'll probably be in the G League. Same thing with Trayce Jackson-Davis. Although Trayce Jackson-Davis could be a day one type starter just because he gives them what they need in terms of defensive versatility.
So make sure to hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below if you do enjoy today's video at any point. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button because literally my entire audience is not subscribed. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. It'll help us out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. Don't let these boys shock you again. We said he wouldn't get number 4. We said he would never get his finals MVP. Curry has proved us wrong over and over and over again. And he's got a revamped supporting cast, and I think this year the supporting cast is a little better. Even though him and Dre and Klay are aging, the Poole trade was actually not terrible. Jordan Poole's good. Okay, he averaged 20 points a game. He really, really helped them on that trip to the finals. But he's making he's got a 4-year, $120 million contract for $30 million a year. Chris Paul. Last year the Warriors were terrible when Curry was off the court. The plus-minus for Curry was insane compared to anybody else on the team. They need another floor general. Chris Paul, a guy, he's got a little bit of finals experience, but got playoff experience, 14 points a game, and 9 assists last year. Still a guy that can run an offense, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. 4.3 rebounds, still 1.5 assists per game as well, 44% from the field, 38% from 3. So even though he's 38, he's still really good. It's just the injuries could be an issue down the stretch. But the reason they go with Chris Paul over Jordan Poole, he's an expiring contract. I know people were thinking Jordan Poole is going to take the Warriors over the top in the post-Curry days. They just can't pay that right now. I mean, you add in, instead of Chris Paul, that $30 million not guaranteed for next year. So instead of adding in a Chris Paul, you put Jordan Poole on the books for the next 4 years. Along with Draymond Green, along with Andrew Wiggins, along with Steph Curry, Klay will get an extension next year. That would be very rough. They're already $35 million over for next year, which is insane. They are $80 million over for this year. Don't let Bob Myers fool you. He jumped off the ship while he still could. But one thing that the Warriors and Steve Kerr need to do this year is play the youth. Jonathan Kuminga last year averaged 10 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and 2 assists, and was out of the playoff rotation. This is a guy exactly what they needed, and a guy that can guard, the 2-3-4 really. He was good efficiency-wise, though. 53% from the field, 37% from 3 on over 2 attempts a game in 21 minutes per game. Jonathan Kuminga needs to have a much bigger role in the rotation. He honestly could be another version of Andrew Wiggins if they give him the correct opportunity, which I think they will. Now, Moses Moody, another former lottery pick, averaged 4.8 points and about a rebound a game. 48% from the field, 36% from 3. So he was good efficiency-wise. It was just, lack of opportunity. He only played in 13 minutes a game, kind of like with Kuminga. Now, I know he has to have a role to play, but still, you can get these guys minutes. Now, let's talk about the rookies here. I think both of these guys are really going to help the Warriors out. I think, honestly, Trayce Jackson-Davis will help them out quicker than Podziemski. I cannot believe they passed on Cam Whitmore over Podziemski. I was really sitting there at pick 19 thinking, well, the Warriors just had Cam Whitmore fall into their lap. They end up with Podziemski. I don't think he will help out right away. However, Trayce Jackson-Davis is going to be a guy that is really good for them because he can move his feet on the perimeter and he can guard on the interior, and that's really what they were missing last year. In a forward, Trayce Jackson-Davis, perfect for them. Another guy perfect for them is Dario Saric, going over from the Oklahoma City Thunder for the second half of the year. They needed a stretch 4, and they needed a 4 that was a versatile defender, but was a little bit taller than Draymond. So they get Saric, they get Trayce Jackson-Davis. Kuminga is still there. Wiggins is still there. This Warriors team is loading up. Also, don't overlook the Corey Joseph signing, a guy that can really shoot the three ball. If injuries happen, he's a really, really nice depth piece. Or if, they go a different direction than Podziemski, Corey Joseph, Chris Paul could be your backup backcourt. Now, a guy that we are sleeping on is Lester Quinones, I believe is how you pronounce it. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. But this guy was an absolute dog last year for the Warriors in the G League. He was really good for them in the Summer League. And I think, with some needed depth on the wing, he's got good length, he's got good athleticism. He's a guy that could get some PT this year, and I think he's going to make the most of it when he does. Now we have a big money man here on the Warriors, and that is Draymond Green, who signed a long-term extension this offseason, 4 years, $120 million. Now Dre's getting old. Dre, Klay, Steph, that core is getting old. They're really going to have to rely on the youth in terms of defense and just lean on them throughout an 82-game season as they age. But Draymond, he got a big-time extension, and he is here for the long run. So now let's take a look at the lineups for next season. Really just running it back. This is in my opinion, of course, but just running it back with the same five from last year. Klay, I think it's going to be Klay's bounce-back year. Remember, he was completely shut down from anything basketball for 2 years. He's been back for about a year and a half now. We're going to see a fully motivated Klay. He's been hearing all the outside talk, all the outside noise, and I think Klay is going to come back with a vengeance. We saw him put 54 on the Hawks. He still got it. I think Klay is going to be the X factor next year, and I think he is going to prove some people wrong. Still got Wiggins, still got Draymond, still got Looney, still got Steph. Mainly the same cast of characters there. Looney, we'll see between Looney, Dre, and Wiggins if they can step up their defense for a guy like AD, or just hope they don't run into the Lakers in the playoffs. Now, taking a look at the bench, they got Chris Paul as the backup point guard again. Chris Paul, definitely out of his prime, but he's still a very, 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 very serviceable starting point guard, much less backup point guard. You got Gary Payton at the backup 2, Jonathan Kuminga at the backup 3. Those three right there, that is a very, very good defensive trio. Trayce Jackson-Davis, I'm not sure who's going to start at the backup center spot. Maybe they make a move. As of right now, I'm thinking it's Trayce Jackson-Davis just because of his ability to guard on the perimeter and guard on the interior. We talk about defensive versatility, something you really need. Trayce Jackson-Davis has that, and then they also have Dario Saric, who they brought in to stretch the floor and knock down three balls. Now, there are still some more guys that they will need to be getting minutes. We talked about Lester. He's a guy that I think could have a breakout year if given the correct opportunity. Brandon Podziemski, I might be saying his name wrong, but I think he's going to start out in the G League this year. Moses Moody is a guy that maybe is a trade piece if he doesn't start playing better. Maybe trade him to a team with, a big man that can guard inside and out and, can play the backup center spot. We'll see what happens there. You also have Corey Joseph, who, like I said, if injuries do happen to like a Chris Paul, he's a very serviceable replacement there. I mean, I'm not saying he needs Chris Paul, but he's a serviceable replacement. Overall, I think this Warriors team has a very good chance to get ring number 5. The Nuggets are going to be really hard to beat. There's going to be some really good battles next year in the Western Conference playoffs between the Nuggets, Suns, Mavericks, Clippers, Lakers, Warriors, Kings even. I'm probably missing somebody too. There are so many good teams out west this year. It's going to be an absolute dogfight. The Grizzlies, I miss them. So, yeah, it's going to be an absolute dogfight. That's my take on why I think the Warriors are very underrated this year, though. So make sure to like button and hit the subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.